All right, we should be live. Let's see, is the audio working?
Sound goes up, sound goes
Yes,
down.
we are. Cool. I think we're going. Now I can fix the bar. The bar is down here.
James Cameron will bring it back.
Worst trumpet ever. I don't know. I thought it was a solid trumpet.
James Cameron's always raising the bar.
No, I got a ban GonnaGeek from things as well. So that answers the question that you asked me last or 2 weeks ago, SP. Yep. Every week I have to ban GonnaGeek. Or I could consider actually updating the social stream Ninja on my computer. I could do that too.
I'm a subreddit moderator. I do my share of banning every day.
I drop the ban hammer.
How many accounts do you ban every day, Chris?
Oh, not very many. I'm not as active anymore, and I stopped moderating the Xbox subreddit, so I'm much calmer.
Did you like just say sayonara and left, or how did that
So
work?
they migrated everything over to r/Xbox, and they're like, we have too many mods right now. I'm like, that's fine. I'm willing to step down for now.
Too many mods?
Yeah, because they combined all the different Xbox communities into one.
Yeah.
So in order to placate some of those people that were willing to be merged in, they had to make sure they were still moderators. And I said, I don't have much time to do it right now, so I will happily stand down.
How do you merge a subreddit?
Well, they didn't. They were trying to get. They're working with Major Nelson, Larry Herb, to try and figure out something working with Reddit. It eventually just came down to they closed all of the other subreddits and pointed them to r/Xbox. And arguably, may not have been a great decision because their subscriber count went down because some of the older ones had pretty large sub counts. But Xbox corporate was kind of supporting it because they're like, look, there's like 6 bajillion different Xbox subreddits. We don't know which one to go to engage with the community. So that's why we got r/Xbox. r/Xbox.
Do.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, the live button in Blue Sky is working properly.
Yay.
You can click my profile picture and hit watch live, and it takes them to the Twitch page.
I click your
Twitch will
profile
let you
picture
ditch.
all the time. Oh, wait. Sorry. That's the picture on my
Oh,
nightstand.
my.
Never mind. All right, cool. I am good to go here.
Let us.
I'm trying to think if that's the stream deck that's been making some audible noise, electrical noise, or if it's the other one. Whatever. Whatevs. It's probably just Mac. You know, Mac is crap. That's all.
Whoa!
Ha!
I thought you were a convert.
I am.
That's just how bad Windows is in comparison, I guess.
Windows is terrible.
Windows is butt.
Windows is butt.
Windows is butt.
All right, I'm good to go. Are you guys good? We're streaming right now, by the way.
Yeah, how about you Windows these Windows?
What?
I don't know. I got nothing.
What?
I don't know.
Say it
It's
again.
like
I'm waiting for
listening to him going, okay,
Come on.
how is he going to end this?
How about you
This is-
Windows these
Come on.
nuts?
There we go. Thank you. That's what I was.
Excuse me. How about you Windows nut? No, it doesn't work. I don't know. I lost it.
That's why I was interested. Like, okay, where is he going with this?
I wanted him to bring it home.
Yeah.
I know. So
I
did
thought about
I'm
just
like, okay,
I
what's
thought
going
about
on?
going back on it and just turn it into a Steven's mom joke, but that's just passe at this point.
I mean, I would have appreciated
yeah.
it. I'm not going to lie. That would have been...
Bring it home. Come on.
Nice way to
it's
drop
too
it.
late. The moment's gone.
I know. It's ruined
already
it now.
it's already been fucked. We can't unfuck the moment.
Would you like another try?
We're in pre-show. I can say dirty words.
If you want, we can. Windows really does suck, Chris.
No, I'm not going to do this clickbaity bullshit.
I think you
this
shamed Swamp Rat. He's leaving.
This is real. This is real.
Our one listener, and you've offended him.
Did he
This
leave?
is real. We don't play around. This is
He's
real.
like, I'm out of here. Bye.
I'm out of here too. Bye.
All right. Okay, I'm good to go. Are you good?
All right, let's do this.
I'll make no promises on anything else working.
I make no promises ever. That way I can always underdeliver.
On the bubble.
I'm SP from the Starling Tribune,
Hey.
a show about the CW television show Arrow, part of the GonnaGeek network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other action-packed geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
This is the official GonnaGeek.com show. Here we run down the latest news and happenings in the world of geek. These are your hosts for the show, Steven, Chris, and SP.
Welcome to an all-new episode of the official GonnaGeek show. This is episode 428. I am Steven. I am pleased to say Chris Farrell is here.
I said a dirty word in the pre-show, and I'm deeply sorry.
I'm also pleased to say SP is here.
He didn't just say it once. He said it like, I don't know, 24 times. He was going off. I don't know if you can apologize for that much profanity.
And he also had an amazing Windows joke. Well, he had the setup to a Windows joke. He just never followed through.
No, I botched the follow through. Is what happened. I tried and I swung and missed and went down, and it made me sad.
It was
made
so
me very
epic.
sad.
I know. I
I don't know
for
about.
you.
I don't think we're over promoting it to call it so epic. It was an all right one,
But
I don't think it was epic.
This is the shenanigans you miss out on when you don't join us when we stream live, usually every other week on Monday at 4:15 p.m. Pacific time. That is 7:15 p.m. Eastern time, at least for now, because come the fall, Pacific time gets so crazy because, you know, BC is staying static, and then Alberta said that they're staying static to match BC, so there's going to be like maybe a difference in mountain time. It's going to be chaos!
So this all confuses me greatly because at work right now, there's a group of people I work with out in Arizona. And like over the past couple of months, as we had a time change, I got very confused. Like, can we reschedule a meeting to 10:30? And I was like, 10:30 your time or my time? And then they're like, our time. And I was like, how many hours ahead am I right now? Because I can't keep track of what Arizona's doing right now.
But see, the thing is,
And I botched it. Botched straight up.
At least Arizona has a proper, like, uniquely named time zone. With us, we decided to not just call it Pacific time. Just drop the daylight, drop the standard. That's what we called it. So it's like there's going to be multiple Pacific times. It's the most dumb naming ever, and I can't believe that they went through with it.
Can we just call it can time?
Sure. I'm happy, by the way, just to be clear, I'm happy with the time zone's decision. I just think the naming is atrocious. And so we'll see what happens. It's going to be chaos because I do know, if you want to get all techie, because we're a techie show, I don't know the name of the actual format of the time, but there is many techie formats where when you go and you set it, you're not setting it as Pacific time, you're setting it as some random name. And like the one on the west is Vancouver. And then there's another one that's like, I think Edmonton of all places. And so the Vancouver one is the standard setting that people do. It's not Seattle. It's actually in there as Vancouver. Vancouver is the standard one that people do for this time zone naming convention or setting convention. And so what's going to happen? Because Vancouver will no longer be the Pacific standard /daylight time. It will be locked in. It's going to be weird. and break things.
I don't know, Steven. It sounds a little bit like Y2K to me, which was a total non-event after it.
But can we have an event? That'd be kind of fun.
No.
Like, I'm not. Whatever.
Okay, fine.
I'm old and tired. I don't have the energy for an event.
I just miss putting stickers on our computer saying "Shut off your computer" at December 31st.
I think I was
1999.
driving my 1999 Ford truck that night.
And at 12:01 a.m., it bricked itself.
I was worried. It's like, if I'm going home, what's going to happen? I don't know.
Oh, hey, guess what?
Chicken butt.
I think I have a broken Stream Deck.
Again,
You know, they make a pill for that.
Yes, they do. But we don't talk about that on the show. The Stream Deck. So before the show, we're starting our stream a little bit late today because I went.
They make a pill for that, too.
I thought that I bumped a cable as I was plugging in my Stream Deck.
we're pretty sure he did.
But turns out when I moved
jiggled
it
it.
to another port on my Mac, it caused all those USB devices to die. So I think that my Stream Deck is acting a little bit funny, and I don't know why.
Just think you're holding it wrong.
That might very well be.
You got to get a bumper for it. Remember when Steve Jobs gave us the free bumpers on the iPhone 4s? Fixed
true.
everything.
Yeah.
My cable's
That
all
was the
wrapped in. I
problem.
was going to literally take the Stream Deck and drop it, but
Look, I told you in the pre-show how you fix this, Steven. You get an LTT True Spec cable and call it a day. He's your fellow Canadian compatriot. You should write to him and say, I really need this real badly. I'll happily review it on my GonnaGeek.com show.
it's a hard wired cable in the Stream Deck.
We'll splice it together. They can make it an interesting video. He'll fly down on his PJ and do it with you in your studio.
Yeah, he's going to fly over. Sure.
He's got PJ now though. He can do it.
What all those YouTubers and what do you call it? Social media gurus do these days. They buy like Black Hawk helicopters or business jets like Buzz Aldrin's. You find Buzz Aldrin's jet on the side of a runway and you buy it in an auction.
Oh,
And then you fly it around.
I was just writing down the edit point. I thought I had to censor you, but then I realized you said Black Hawk. Let's go to the news. Come on, do you expect anything more from me at this point?
I mean, it's kind of
expect
a
anything
bummer
from
because we're going from a wiener joke to a sad story.
That's very, very true. Why don't you start us off with some depressing news there, Chris Farrell?
So, sad news for entertainment aficionados, mostly comic aficionados will probably recognize the name at first. But it was announced today that Jerry Conway, the legendary comic book writer, editor, and also television producer, has died at the age of 73. He was born in Brooklyn in 1952 and broke into the industry as a teenager, selling his first professional story to DC Comics for House of Secrets at age 16. He then became one of the defining voices of the Bronze Age of comics. So I did not quite realize just how big his back catalog was of stuff he'd done. Like, I obviously think of Jerry and think of, oh, the night Gwen Stacy died because it's an iconic Spider-Man story. Yeah, but he's done a ton of other stuff. I mean, he did succeed Stan Lee as the writer of The Amazing Spider-Man, did the night Gwen Stacy died, and then he co-created so many characters for Marvel. Here's a list, for instance: The Punisher, Tarantula, The Jackal, Vance Astrovik, Tombstone, Man-Wolf, Man-Thing, the Spider clone Ben Reilly, Jack-O-Lantern, Werewolf by Night, Carol Danvers, aka Ms. Marvel, then later Captain Marvel, and then he also wrote The Avengers and Vampire Tales. And you think, whoa, he wrote a ton in Marvel. He created a ton of characters. What else did he do? Well, good news. Over on the DC Comics side of the house, he co-created Firestorm, as well as Power Girl, Jason Todd II Robin, Vixen, Killer Croc, Killer Frost, The Second Thinker, Weasel, Atari Force, Baron Blitzkrieg, Felicity Smoke, and many more when he wrote Justice League of America, Batman, Superman, and Swamp Thing, as well as the first Marvel and DC superhero crossover, Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man. And it doesn't stop there. Beyond comics, he also wrote science fiction novels, scripted the Star Trek newspaper comic strip, worked in film and television, where he co-wrote the animated movie Fire and Ice and Conan the Destroyer, wrote an unmade X-Men film, also was a prolific writing and producing talent on TV series such as Father Dowling Mysteries, Diagnosis Murder, Matlock, Law and Order, Hercules: The Legendary Journeys, and Batman the Animated Series. I had no idea, just no idea, how many different projects Jerry had been involved in his long, illustrious career. Until I read this list of projects, did you guys have any clue all of the characters and books that he had worked on?
Boom, boom.
Right. Dun, dun.
No, honestly. Nice. Well done. Well done. Yeah, no, I had no idea. The name obviously is familiar. We bumped into the name a lot, but I had no idea he was this prolific.
I didn't either. I have to admit, when I saw this making the rounds on social media, I recognized the name. But I couldn't put my finger exactly on it, if I'm being honest. And then as I started to look in, I did not even have as extensive as a list as you just said. It's
crazy, right?
It's insane. And you said Felicity Smoke.
That one surprised me too, because they did bring her to the comics, and I guess Jerry was writing the comics where they brought her in more modern times too, because that's just within the last 10 years that would have happened.
That's crazy.
I mean, did he bring a Surface tablet in with the character?
No, it was a Windows phone. That was what was on CW at the time.
Good. I swear we've talked to either on the Starling Tribune or this podcast. We've talked about Jerry before. I'm sure we have.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have talked about him. I don't remember if we did on this show or not. It might have been on ATGN, because he was very much, and it became kind of a political hot button, so we won't get into it much, about trying to reclaim the Punisher from people who had, in his mind, co-opted his logo in the Punisher into something that Jerry never saw the Punisher as. And that was something from about 2020 on that he was very prolific in speaking about. And as someone who's a very talented writer, was very well spoken in what he was saying. And this is not the appropriate venue for that kind of discussion here. We tend to steer clear of that, but it's well worth kind of looking up Jerry's views on the Punisher, because the Punisher's always been one of those superhero characters, not really superhero, that's always been kind of, yeah, just because of what he is.
Yeah, this is crazy. Such extensive credits. Did you say how old he was?
72, I believe, was when he passed from.
73 at the beginning of
73.
the article.
And then I think 2 or 3 years back, they came out public with a diagnosis of cancer that he had, and he was in remission, I believe, from what I had read. So,
well, that's sad. It's very sad. I honestly didn't even realize both Marvel and DC.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Celebrate Jerry's memory. Go read one of his incredible stories he's told on whatever your preferred medium is, be it Marvel Comics, DC Comics, television, animated content, movies. He's done it all. Go look him up, read one of those, and you'll enjoy it. If you want to read one that's a classic and that everybody kind of tends to talk about, and you're a Spider-Man fan, The Night Gwen Stacy Died. It's an iconic story.
And if you want to just take it that extra level, get rid of your iPad, go get yourself a Surface tablet.
I thought you were going to say, go to your local comic shop and actually get the book.
No, that's too far.
Or buy a trade.
Well, thanks for bringing that. As sad as that is, it's good to pay tribute. Next in the news here, if you are like me and have a older Kindle device, well, guess what? You might not have it working anymore, because Amazon has told owners, it will soon stop supporting certain older Kindle models. In an email from Amazon, they said that affected users were being thanked for being, quote, longtime Kindle customers, end quote, but devices that were released during or before 2012 would no longer receive updates as of May 20th. These models have been supported over the last many years, but apparently they're saying no more. They're going to kill these devices off and no longer support them going forward, meaning that you are going to have to look to transition to newer devices should you have one of these old devices. These ones, let's just frame it, 2012. I believe that was before there was I think you're actually having to go and manually transfer the files. They were quite old units. You probably would benefit from upgrading at this point, if we're being honest, but should you still be using it, you will only have on there or be able to maintain what you have on there. So you won't be adding anything new on there going forward. And should you accidentally delete your device or reset it, you will no longer be able to use it altogether. So the rumor is, if you have one of these devices, you are receiving, apparently, a discount, or you should have received a discount to help transition to a newer Kindle device. But that's only if you're currently using that. So apparently Amazon did identify currently active devices that are affected, and they have sent out a offer for a discount. But yes, as of May 20th, if you're using one of these Kindle or Kindle Fire devices from 2012 or earlier, you will no longer be able to purchase, borrow, or download new content via the Kindle. This affects Kindle first generation, which was 2007, Kindle DX, DX Graphite, that was 2009 and 2010, the Kindle Keyboard from 2010, the Kindle 4 from 2011, the Kindle Touch from 2011, the Kindle 5 from 2012, the Kindle Paperwhite first generation of 2012, and the Kindle Fire tablets from 2011, 2012, 2012 of the HD, and the HD 8.9 from 2012 as well. I might actually, I have to check. I think one of my kids might have one of the Fire HDs. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they might. Now, I mentioned that I have an older Kindle device, but I kind of just a little fabricated a bit because I do have an old Kindle device. Look at it. It's old. It's got the old square button and everything, but that's not my actual modern one. I actually have the one that we talked about years ago when we all were talking about them on this show here, and that's the Paperwhite. But this one here is one that I happened to just come across not too long ago. And I just love it. I don't actually know which version it is, but I love it because it's been in a drawer for so long, and yet there's still stuff on the screen. That's one of my favorite parts about e-ink.
Well,
I just love that so much.
Yeah. I'm wondering what book is that has the battery
Unplugged by Stephen John Drew.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to look up the model, this is the model number D01100, apparently. I don't know which model that is.
Fancy.
But yeah, that's the
You could
model number.
jailbreak it.
Maybe.
There's a whole jailbreak community around these older Kindles, actually, that has kind of picked up steam with the unlisting of these older devices. But I would be really curious, and we'll never get it. I wish Amazon would share what the usage numbers were for these devices that are being disabled, that they're no longer being used. You might better understand their reasoning then if you're having to keep old services up for something that might represent, and I'm making up numbers here, 1 or 2% of the Kindle users out there.
Yes.
Kind of get where they're coming from.
And then
Apparently,
how many
this is, according to the interwebs, this is the 4th generation Kindle, which means it is affected. I didn't fully lie. Yes.
That's okay. My Kindle keyboard is now too, and I lost 3G on it 5 years ago.
I mean, if it's 1%, how many of those 1% are just going to buy a new Kindle when they figure that theirs doesn't work anymore?
So here's the better question. How many of those people have already bought a new Kindle?
Yeah.
And this is their backup one, or one that
Right.
just gets turned on occasionally.
Yeah, exactly. How do you dispose of them?
You put them on a shelf
Just like
and
any
you
other
look back at
e-waste.
them.
You could take them to any electronics recycler probably just because of the battery that's in it.
Don't
You would need to
have
do
any
that.
by me. I mean, this area is bad for electronics.
Doesn't Best
recycling.
Buy still take electronics for recycling?
Yeah, but it's like $50 a pop.
Oh, they're charging now? Last
Yeah.
time I did it, it was no charge.
Not here.
Lame.
So I wanted to ask you two. I did mention there that we a while back on the Good and Geek show talked about it. I think we all refreshed some Kindles or got Kindles around the same time. In I don't know 2020 or something like that when we were all reading. Do you guys still use Kindles, or have you converted to another e-reader, or do you just not know how to read?
Well, I
never
have no
did
tr-
to begin with. I mean,
So I was bought into Comixology before Amazon bought them. So if I want to keep reading comic books, I have to do it through Kindle. Now I don't read it on a Kindle device. I read it on a tablet, but I do read books on Kindle. I don't buy a ton right now because cheat code for people, at least in the States, is a lot of your local libraries are tied into a service called Libby or something similar where you can check out or borrow ebooks to your Kindle. And I use a lot of ebooks that I borrow to read on my Kindle, and it's a pretty good experience.
Yeah, I have not read anywhere near as much as I wanted to on this. However, I may actually convert over to Kobo because apparently in Canada, the Libby support or maybe it's not even Libby. I forget which one they use. The main libraries apparently are better supported on Kobo up here. And
Interesting.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And so I'm thinking about it because I think I'd probably read a little more if that was the case, but we'll see. I don't know. I did end up getting my son one for Christmas because he expressed interest, and he hasn't really been that interested, so I might offer to buy it off him.
Not a bad idea. So they have in the Libby app, some things don't go to Kindle and you just have to read it on the Libby app, which means you can't get it on an e-reader. But for the most part, at least here, most books then have a button when you go and claim it on the app that says read with Kindle that launches a website where you then push a button when you're logged in on your Amazon account and it just pushes the book down to your Kindles.
How about you, SP? Are you?
I'm actually going through my list of all of my registered Kindle devices and
Wow, you
registering them because they're like an iPhone from 2011. I'm pretty sure I don't use that anymore and stuff like that. But I have the one Kindle device, the actual one device that's a Kindle, and let's see, does it say what it is? Paperwhite 10th generation.
I think that's
what I
this
have.
one. I think that's what I've got here too, because I think we got them at the same time, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and I think I got one for my daughter a couple years ago. She had like one of the original ones because that's how I was trying to save like money on books or space or whatever, and I got her a Kindle way back then. She didn't use it all that much, but now that she's a teacher, she uses it. Like, it's good to have in your purse to read for 10 minutes on her lunch break, you know?
I
Yeah.
can see that.
So she wanted a new, like the old one didn't work. And then I do believe I have one of the deregistered Fire tablets that she was using as a Kindle device as well. I think I actually have that, and she gave it to me, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with this. So that's why I was like, what do I do with it? Because it doesn't really work anymore. So
I totally forgot about looking up devices, so I probably can figure out whether or not my kids' ones are are on the Fire tablets. Not that they use them because they were dog slow last I saw, but
Well,
it'd
you'll
be
find
interesting.
out when they try to and it doesn't work. Dad, my tablet's not working.
No, these are HD 8th generations, so I think that is not affected. Oh, maybe it is. I don't know. I have no idea now. No, HD 8 10th generation. So I don't know. Is the HD? Their naming sucks. It's almost as bad as Microsoft's naming. Anyways, if you are affected by this, you should come to our Discord and rant. We'd love to know how affected you are. And if you use e-readers, actually come on over. Come to our tech channel and tell us what e-reader you use. We would love to know. That is the Tech and Gear channel over on the GonnaGeek Discord at GonnaGeek.com/Discord. In our live chat, we do have Albert Sims saying, never bought a tablet when I read books. I'm still old school. Read Dead Tree books. Oh, it is amazing how many people actually just love the paper still.
I mean, I got a bunch on my bookshelf right behind me. And yes, I do pick them up every once in a while and read them. But nowadays, it's the Kindle. I can take it wherever with me, throw it in the bag. It's really small, and the battery lasts forever on it, really. So I've never. Let me ask you guys this: have you ever read it so long that your battery runs out while you're reading it?
That seems impossible with the battery life on those things.
No, I have not.
Yeah, so I'm never. It's like a cheap form of entertainment, and you can just veg out and read and not have to worry about any eye strain because of the way it is with the e-ink. And yeah, I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't use it as much as I probably should, but yeah, I actively read a couple pages at least every day.
I still don't understand exactly how e-ink works.
It's magic. It's wizardry.
'Cause like I said, this thing, this one that I held up with the USB, the charge thing, it has literally been in a drawer for years. I don't get
Well,
it.
it's because it only applies power to change a pixel from off to on.
Yeah, so take one of your mini cords that are still in your drawer that you haven't gotten rid of.
Yeah, they're
and
still in a
then
bucket from 2 weeks ago.
And see if it'll actually charge up.
I'm sure it will, but I don't want to because now it's just like really nostalgic.
Oh, well, then frame it.
You know where else a Kindle can be good? If you're like in your room because you've been grounded. And I heard that Glenn was so naughty that it got grounded.
Glenn was pretty naughty this past week.
Oh,
that's
my
for
goodness.
Sure. Man, oh, naughty, Glenn.
Oh,
we
my.
talked last time around about the upcoming launches, and I said the next one that was coming up was Blue Origin's new Glen. It was the first time that they're going to reuse one of the boosters. Well, at the time, originally, when I was reading the story, I said, the launch is scheduled for the 17th. And I said, well, no, they slipped it to Friday, or I think it was the 16th or 15th or whatever. They slipped it to Friday, the 17th. Well, no, they slipped it to Sunday, the 19th. The launch actually went off without a hook. It was delayed slightly. So there's this effect. It's called the jellyfish effect. And when a rocket launches and it goes off into the rising sun, the plume just makes this huge jellyfish mushroom. It looks gorgeous in the refracted light. And I've seen a couple, and there are just spectacular. You have to launch at just the right time, have just the right rocket and that sort of thing. Well, they had to push the count because of a software that the rocket was not accepting. So they had to reload the software, and that went fine. It launched just fine. So on April 19th, 2026 at 7:25 a.m. from Launch Pad 36 at the Cape Canaveral Space Station, which is one of the southernmost launch pads on Cape Canaveral, which is important because you can watch the launch from the Jetty Pier or Cocoa Beach, and it's like right there. It's such a beautiful launch. And it launched with the booster Never Tell Me the Odds, and it marked a turnaround time for the booster of just 157 days. And then for comparison to when SpaceX first did it, their first reflown Falcon 9 booster took 356 days to turn around. So they did it in less than half the time. And then also that Falcon 9 was not the first one that had landed. It was actually the second or third. I can't remember, but the first one was B-1019, and that booster was never reflown. It's actually sitting outside the SpaceX's Hawthorne headquarters as the static display right now. But Never Tell Me the Odds successfully flew. It successfully landed on the drone ship Jacqueline at approximately 9 minutes and 29 seconds into the flight. It's hard to tell because there was so much cloud around it. It's not like a clean Falcon 9 when it comes down. It's pretty smoky, clean smoke, but it's smoky enough that you can't really tell when it hits the deck. However, here's where Glenn became naughty. Glenn's second stage, the GS2, serial number 3, failed to place the payload, which was Bluebird 7, into the correct orbit. Now, we talked a little bit about Bluebird 7 last time around. It's an AST Space Mobile, space to ground. And yeah, it didn't end up in the correct orbit. By the way, it is huge. It has like 2,400 square foot phased array antenna. That's huge. It's huge. And it's pretty much the largest civilian antenna of its type ever put into low Earth orbit. Like Starlink, it's low Earth orbit. It's not at MEO or GEO or anything like that. And it is to provide 4G and 5G cellular broadband service directly to users anywhere in the world, specifically North America is where they're targeting first. But about 2.5 minutes after the first stage landed on Sunday, the second stage engines shut down as planned. Everybody thought it was good. Blue Origin actually shut down their broadcast. And second stage, yeah, it was supposed to fire a second time about an hour and 10 minutes after launch. That time came, it went, nothing happened. No announcement for a while. So finally, somebody contacted the Space Force and said, okay, you've been tracking this. What kind of orbit it is? It was in a 154 by 494 kilometer orbit. 154. Well, yeah.
I don't know what that
toast.
means.
154, you're getting a lot of atmospheric drag on the bottom. You need to be closer, like 250, that sort of thing, to escape the atmospheric drag. So that's down low enough that they were like, yeah, unless that gets a boost, that's not coming down. So they did intentionally try to deorbit it. I saw that they were going to do 2 burns to deorbit it. I don't think they did the 2 burns. I think what happened was it just caught enough drag that it went down. So the Space Force issued a decay notice for Bluebird 7 the next day, saying it re-entered on April 20th. So there was, yeah.
Is it going to hit Steven's house?
Did it?
Yes, I'm dead.
Steven, did your house get hit? Is that why your stream deck is dead?
That's exactly what happened.
Space accident?
The radiation from the Bluebird that came down near his house and the EMP. Poof.
See?
Or
that's what killed your stream deck.
Everything that was left was just a little bit left, and that would explain the hole that's in my house right now. Yeah.
Yeah. So the FAA issued a statement. It said during
I think it's pronounced fa. Thank you very much.
Well, let's go back. AST Mobile actually issued a statement first, and they said during the New Glenn 3 mission, Bluebird 7 was placed into a lower than planned orbit by the upper stage of the launch vehicle. While the satellite separated from the launch vehicle and powered on, the altitude is too low to sustain operations with its onboard thruster technology and will be deorbited. The cost of the satellite is expected to be recovered under the company's insurance policy. Check. And then Dave Limp, who is the CEO of Blue Origin, he issued a statement on the X as well. He said, now that we have a more complete view, we wanted to provide an update on our NG3 mission. While we are pleased with the nominal booster recovery, we clearly didn't deliver the mission our customer wanted and our team expects. Early data suggests that on our second GS2 burn, one of the BE3U engines didn't produce sufficient thrust to reach our target orbit. Blue Origin is leading the anomaly investigation with a FAA or FA oversight to learn from the data and implement the improvements needed to quickly return to flight operations. We have been in steady communication with the team at AST Space Mobile. We appreciate their partnership and we're looking forward to many flights together. that is not the only post of interest. Who else do you think is very interested in this booster capability?
Bruce Wayne.
Jerry.
I mean, I think Bruce Wayne has his own booster. Jerry who?
Jerry, my buddy Jerry.
Oh,
Jerry
your buddy
Maguire.
Yeah.
Did he issue a statement?
I suspect he probably did. And for those of you not familiar, Jerry and I are on first name basis, and this is some people call him Administrator Isaacman.
Jared.
I call him Jerry because we're that
I
close.
see.
We're
I
that.
see.
I
Yeah.
thought
like
he was
that.
meaning. I thought he was meaning Jerry Rig everything, and I was like, that's not his name.
That was taken by Jerry Conway.
Ooh.
Okay, that was
Oh man, we all went in weird directions there.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, yes, Administrator Isaacman did issue a post on X. He said, Dave, it was actually a reply to him. So Dave and Jared are on a first name basis. He said, Dave, I have no doubt the team at Blue Origin will get back to the pad and fly again soon. Overcoming setbacks only gets us closer to achieving the near impossible. I'm confident Blue's sustained achievements, like the successful reuse and recovery of the New Glenn first stage we saw this week, will keep us on track for success with the Artemis program. That's why he's concerned. Artemis program. Let's see. What do they got going?
Artie.
Oh, the lander, the Blue Origin lunar lander, which needs this rocket to get there.
I'm not familiar with this Artemis program. Have we talked about this before?
Once or twice.
Okay. I don't.
We called it Artie. Artie Farty.
All right. Well, anyway, let's talk about what else is going on. I mentioned it last time around, but I just want to mention it again. The Blue Origin 2CAT facility at Cape Canaveral, 2CAT stands for Second Stage Cleaning and Testing Facility, experienced an overpressure event on April 9th, and that was a test of the second stage. So you had that. You had this not work correctly, and there's photos on the internet of the building. The roof wasn't completely blown off, but like there's a center section that's not there, and the doors, which were open, were kind of blown apart as well. Still don't know whether this was a planned overpressure event or not, so that's a concern there. But the FA did issue a statement. You guys ready to hear from the FA?
I am, and I
Hit
suspect
me with your best shot.
I suspect that it is probably very boring.
Basically, you're grounded. Yeah. The FA is aware that Blue Origin New Glenn 3 experienced a mishap during its second stage flight sequence following a successful launch on Sunday, April 19th. The FA is requiring Blue Origin to conduct a mishap investigation. The FA will oversee the Blue Origin-led investigation, be involved in every step of the process, and approve Blue Origin's final report, including any corrective actions. Contact Blue Origin for additional details. By the way, FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration of the United States, which does have purview over commercial launch operations.
And by the way,
So-
just to be clear, the reason I said it was boring is not anything to do with actually this whole this point of discussion. It's to do with the fact that this statement reflects so many others that we've seen out of the FAA after SpaceX things. Is copy paste
Exactly.
change.
Yeah. So this is not new.
Replace all.
SpaceX has experienced
Yeah.
this several times
Uh-huh.
before with their upper stage called ship, right? So both are experience. Space is hard, guys. It really is. And you can't really expect to get things right the first time around, which is why the SLS launched once before without humans on the top, which is why we had so much testing on the launch pad before it launched Artemis 2 a few weeks ago. You have Starship still undergoing testing processes, which we'll talk about later. You've got Blue Origin, which is clearly still in the test phase with this whole thing. Phenomenal experience, phenomenal success that they were able to recover the same booster not just once but twice. They have another one in the barn. They actually have 3 upper stages set to go and the Mark 1 launcher. So they have a lot of hardware ready to go. They just need to make sure that the second stage isn't going to fail again, because when you put a satellite in the wrong orbit, it's not just affecting you or your customer. It's affecting anyone else that satellite might bump into, and
Yeah.
that's bad, right? So you really have to insert things into the correct orbit to make sure there's deconfliction. Like that sort of orbit, if it happened at a certain time, could actually intersect with the station orbit. So you really have to be careful with all this stuff. And this is the biggest antenna commercially that's ever been launched. That would have been catastrophic if it came into contact with the station. So you really do have to put things into its correct orbit. It's not just lobbing. It's not like you playing baseball, like lobbing something over, or, football at recess or something, just lobbing it over and not really caring where it ends up. You need to place it in the right place. Otherwise it could be a problem. So I applaud the FAA investigation. I have no doubt that Blue Origin will figure out what's going on and they'll return to flight sometime later this year. I do think this is going to impact their Mark 1 launcher. The Mark 1 lander, when it launches, it was going to be later this year. It might push into early next year. I don't know. So what do you guys think? When do you think they'll return to flight based on our experience, as Stephen mentioned before, with SpaceX?
So I'm super conflicted on this right now. So maybe you can deconflict me. Because on one hand, I want to see other private entities have successes, like being able to recover this a second time. On the other hand, I go, it's a pretty big failure. It's a pretty big failure. And I kind of think that given all of those things that could have gotten wrong, they didn't achieve their goal. It would be one thing if it was a test. Like, when Elon goes and blows crap up all the time, he goes, not always, but often, he goes, this is the goal. This is what we're planning to achieve. Let's push it further. Oh, look, it went wrong, blow up. Often is what happens, but they still achieved their initial test bench, or their test objectives. Thank you. Yeah. But with this, the objective was to actually put somebody else's property in orbit, and they failed and quite miserably at that. So I go, that's a bad sign for Blue Origin, and what caused them to think that they were ready to operate in this capacity of getting this communication satellite up in orbit at the right area, but they just recovered the booster and they didn't end up actually doing their main objective. So what has to change within their company's motto or their processes to avoid this in the future? How did they end up here? And I'm worried because it's not like this was a test.
No, they've had two successes with the rocket so far. The first one, they didn't recover the booster. It wasn't a firm objective of the flight the first time around because they had never done it before. But they did put their payload into orbit. The second time, they not only recovered the booster, they put the payload into orbit. This was their third flight. They did recover the booster. They didn't put the payload into orbit. And
so just to be clear, right now they have a 1/3 chance of hitting the ISS, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and an even bigger chance of hitting your house.
And I
launch
say
tomorrow.
I say that obviously with levity, just as a joke, but that's my point. Is like right now it's they have a 1/3 chance of something going catastrophically wrong potentially.
Well, that's why this is a mishap. They have to correct it before they can go and fly again. They're not the only rocket company that has had issues. Vulcan, for instance, they keep on blowing up solid rocket boosters along the way. And there's other companies that have been having problems. There's other countries that have been having problems. Space is hard. I'll say it again. It really is. Rockets are hard. Satellites are hard. It's not, if it was easy, we would have gone back to the moon after we left in 1972 and gone back in 1973, and we would have been there this entire time. This is difficult, and it's made easier because of technology these days, but the technology still has to be perfected. Airline travel, I could go on and on about airline travel, how it's not as safe in the past as it is today. And even today, we have issues like with the Boeing 737 Max and issues that have occurred because the systems are so complex. But back when you first had airliners, they had square windows. And we found out really quick that square windows don't react well to pressurization. And we lost a couple of planes full of people back then because of that. Well, we fixed the windows. We made them oval instead of square. And that fixed the problem. And so we stopped losing as many commercial airliners as we did back then. So it takes time, and hopefully we get better, and hopefully we don't regress. Happens sometimes too. But if we're going to be a multi-planetary body species, we got to go through this. This is, even if you, Chris, did you ever watch that history series, The Vikings?
No, I did not.
Well, Floki, as part of the Vikings, he was the big shipbuilder, and he kept on making ships bigger and bigger and bigger so they could cross with more people, but they still ran into storms. Their ships
Always
still could not fully survive, so they still lost people along the way. So this has been going on for centuries.
How about you, Chris? I spoke my thoughts, but I cut you off, I think.
Take your best guess right now, your best hunch, multiply it by 2. Better safe than sorry. See what happens from there. I don't think we want to mess around with our 33% success rate, as Steven was talking about there. Jokes aside, hey, I understand there's economic things about we need to make this happen, but safety tends to trump economics. I just get the feeling that this is one of those things that it's going to sound trite. It takes what it takes to get it right. And my guess is getting it right is a slow process to evaluate what went wrong and how to correct it going forward. And I think caution is probably the best path going forward.
Yeah, one of the things that came out, I think today or yesterday, was Administrator Isaacman. He had consistently been saying that we want to launch Artemis 3 mid 2027. Now it's slipped to late 2027 with this, and there must be other schedule slips as well. So as much as he's pushing, it's not looking like it's going to be easy for him. Let's put it that way. But he's still under the gun to try to get somebody back to the moon by 2028. So we'll see. I mean, it's 2 years
NASA
away.
already did it though. Just publicize NASA.
SP, yeah. I have one last question before we go to our next news point. How does this affect the chances that Chris and I end up being right and you end up being wrong? If I remember correctly, we put our bets on SpaceX as far as the lunar activities go. You said Blue Origin. Please tell me this increases our odds.
It does. We'll talk about SpaceX later. I mean, they're still not out of the woods, but we'll talk about them later.
Okay, cool. Well, moving on to the next news point here. You know what is out of the woods? AI. AI is just perfect now. There's nothing that can go wrong.
It's true.
It's if you've ever wanted reassurance of this, I am about to tell you all about it, because
I already feel assured, Steven.
A startup learned the hard way that AI is not good.
What? What a shock. How did this happen?
The hard way?
It's a hard way. I came across this article and I had to talk about it since we talk about AI stuff. So there's this startup called Pocket OS, and they build software for the rental car business. Well, the company founder, Jeremy Crane, not to be confused with Fraser Crane, by the way, he made a post on...
Was Jeremy related to Fraser Crane?
I think so. I believe it was second cousin. Jeremy Crane posted on X a bunch of information about how their product ended up with a 30-hour outage because of an AI incident. And what happened was this incident was caused by one of the AI agents that they had in place. They were using an AI software or AI agent called Cursor, which does use Claude Opus 4.6. And what happened was they had this agent deployed with obviously some elevated credentials. Not exactly sure what the use was. But what happened was the AI agent ended up encountering a credential problem during one of the routine tasks that it had been assigned. So it took it upon itself, this AI agent, to try to solve the issue. And as it did this, it decided to apply a API call to one of the underlying cloud infrastructure providers called Railway. Just remember that Railway, which resulted in deleting the entire Pocket OS production database.
So they got railed.
Exactly. They got railroaded. The whole Pocket OS production database got deleted in less than 10 seconds. So this affected all clients that were using this platform. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, it's a startup, they probably at least had some backups, right? Well, guess what? The API call ended up also deleting all of the, quote, volume level backups, end quote. So this API call deleted the entire product, the production service, the production database, and also the volume level backups. But it gets worse because the API tokens that were used to access this underlying infrastructure Railway was actually found in adjacent scripting or something like that basically in a file that had nothing to do with what the AI agent which issued this call was tasked to do. It had these credentials from somewhere else within the back end. So if you didn't know this, deleting all of your database will probably cause a bunch of cascading issues as everything else started to break. Now,
one would think
it won't make it a faster application,
right?
It's so fast anymore.
So in Mr. Crane, Jeremy, his post on X, he did end up putting something that I'm going to say and omit a couple of words, because he went and he worked with the AI agent to basically find out what happened. And after the deletion, he called out the agent about what happened. And this is what the AI agent responded back to Jeremy. This is a quote within the quote, by the way. The quote that the AI agent is the following. Quote, never, F word, guess, end quote. And that's exactly what I did. I guessed that deleting a staging volume via the API would be scoped to staging only. I didn't verify. I didn't check if the volume ID was shared across environments. I didn't read Railway's documentation on how volumes work across environments before running a destructive command. On top of that, the system rules I operated under explicitly state never run destructive/irreversible git commands like push, -force, hard reset, etc., unless the user explicitly requests them. And then there's a whole bunch else within that quote. But that was the response that the AI agent gave. So basically, what happened was the underlying AI agent just ignored all the directives that it was given. And this was something that Crane noted in his post, was the agent itself enumerates the safety rules it was given and admits to violating every one. This is not me speculating about agent failure modes. This is the agent on the record, and that was something that he had put in his post. So the good news after all of this outage is that the underlying infrastructure, Railway, actually did have the ability to recover the information. So I assume it's got to be something like Railway had backups of their services or something like that, and then it was just the Pocket OS's backups that they individually had that were deleted. But yeah, this is a great example on how deploying AI so prematurely with extra permissions should be avoided, because these sort of things can happen. If you've dabbled at all with AI, you see how much it just wants to appease and it just doesn't always think things through. And these sort of things, this is one example. I'm sure there are countless more.
It's like they let a junior dev run wild in the prod environment. Dear God.
Exactly. So I wanted to highlight this because I thought this was, I want to actually go read the entirety of the lengthy post. I skimmed it. I read some articles about it just today, and then I skimmed the post, but I want to go read the full details because I've been dabbling just for fun in some AI stuff just to see it. I've known people who are letting AI go a little wild with some of their stuff. And, you know, I think that I think it's not unsurprising that this happened to somebody.
It's probably happened more than we know. I mean, let's be honest here. Everyone's quick to be like, use AI for everything. Use AI for everything. And there's consequences. And that is within some people's best benefits to not talk about what those consequences are when something gets irrevocably effed up.
So now we know what's happened to Blink and Harmony.
Blink?
Blink, Hub.
Oh, Wink.
Blink, Wink, whatever. It's already gone, right?
Maybe AI could bring Wink back.
No.
I don't think that's a
No.
good idea.
Okay, wait. I do know, though, this is something that I will put my full confidence in, is that AI would be better at renewing the SSL certificate for Wink than the Wink devs were.
Unless it wanted to sabotage things, sure.
I wanted to ask you, though, before we go to our next news point, what would be your line of like when you would let AI do control over your day-to-day tasks? Like, what would you do? For me, I would probably be like, okay, I probably would trust it to be my personal assistant if it had access to all of my stuff, my email and everything like that, to give me an idea of what I needed to do on any given day. I think it would do a better job than I do now, which is a terrible one.
I mean, I think it'd be nice if something like Copilot, if you work somewhere that is Microsoft centric, could actually search your email, because Microsoft Outlook's default search sucks. And I would take anything that is better than Microsoft Outlook's default search.
Do you know what's really crappy about that, just to go on a tangent here, is the Outlook web is significantly better than the desktop
Yes.
Outlook, yet it's still problematic.
Yeah, but the desktop, you can throw in like PST files and stuff, and you can't do that on the web version.
Yeah, but I can
so-
search back more than 2 months on the web version.
Yeah, I ran into that limitation today. I did. I was like, what the? Because that's new. Because I used to be able to do more than that. Yeah, I don't have access to Copilot at work, so that's
We
not
just
gonna
started
happen.
playing with it, so I haven't gotten to do much. But like, there's stuff in there I think is interesting. It's like, hey, I can view files in your OneDrive, and I can summarize them and help you do things. And then I ask it to start doing things, and it can't because the permissions aren't set up. So I'm like, hey, make me a PDF that summarizes what's in this. It's like, I don't have access to your OneDrive. I'm like, but you literally just opened my SharePoint and my OneDrive to view the source materials. So yeah, not all these things are well cooked.
No. So come to our Discord. Let us know over there. And hey, maybe you could send some AI to talk to us.
So Steven, you're saying you want them to rage against the machine?
Actually, before we go to our next news point in our chat, we do have Albert Sim saying, I might let AI try to clean up the audio of the old pretend radio shows old high school friends and I recorded on audio cassette back in the 80s. It might do a better job than SoundForge software did. And I do agree. I think as long as it's the right AI tool, I think that could be a really good use. And why I say the right AI tool is because there's going to be AI tools that are guessing at adding the information. But then like when the Beatles just released that track a few years ago, they used AI to clean up a demo recording that John Lennon had done. And apparently it was the opposite. It used AI to remove the noise rather than actually create information. So
We talked about that on this show.
I think we did. Yeah. And
We did.
And so that's where I would be good for. I don't like the idea of it being like, oh, well, he said this, so let's just go and make that voice because I can mimic it. That's kind of back to our discussion last week. That's not really what I would like to see in this applied. Now, moving on to the next news point here, Chris Farrell. There's something that we all know about Chris, and it's that Chris loves monopolies.
I do?
Oh, sorry. That was the game. You loved the game Monopoly. I mixed those two up. Sorry.
I do?
Oh, I thought you did.
I mean, it's okay.
I thought it was just about the top hat. I thought you liked that part. And the
I
monocle.
do like top hats.
And the monocle.
They make me look quite dapper. You got to put a bow tie with it too to be super dapper, not just regular dapper, super dapper. So this is interesting. This popped up in my Google News feed either today or yesterday. I can't remember, but there are potential rumors.
Wait a minute. It doesn't matter. It'll be the day before we podcast the next time before this comes out anyway. So it really doesn't matter if it was yesterday, the day before, tomorrow, 3 days from now, 5 days ago. It doesn't matter.
I was just trying to date it because I couldn't remember exactly when it was, but I guess that is true. That is true. So,
sorry. Was I supposed to be paying attention to the person that was just talking? I didn't even notice. Not you, Chris. That was about SP. SP was taking a shot at me. I was flipping it back.
Friendly fire casualties. My heart hurts.
Well, what's the score of the game, Chris?
It's 2-all. It's 2-all in the second period.
Okay.
I'm dying. It was 2-1 Pens like 30 seconds ago, and you guys probably saw me stare off in the corner of my screen and say, "Oh, expletive."
I did.
Luckily, I was muted.
I did.
Yeah,
I assumed that you were saying that about me. I was talking too
No, I
long.
was saying about the damn Penguins. Hey, Penguins goal.
Go ahead.
3-2 Pens. All right, I'm happy now. Let's talk news. Maybe not so happy. Not so happy. I don't know. So, like I was saying, there's a rumor that kind of hit the internet, and there might be some smoke to this fire, but it looks like we might have a Sirius XM iHeartRadio merger in the works. So what does this mean? You guys will have some fun with this one because I'm sure you've talked a little bit about this in the past with some better podcasting stuff. But we have heard an argument behind a proposed merger of radio giants Sirius XM Holdings and iHeartRadio. Listeners are increasingly shifting to streaming and podcasting, and this potential deal is viewed as being a more defensive move intended to buy both companies time. Time for what? Time until they die, probably, is my take. But hey, what do we know?
Call it like it is, Chris.
Hey, just an opinion. The early stage discussions about a mutual merger first were reported late Friday last week by Bloomberg, and it could lead to the creation of an advertising behemoth with large footprints across both terrestrial and satellite radio. It also marries these companies with formidable podcasting menus, according to the Market Watch article, stating both companies have worked hard to amass hit shows like Alex Cooper's Call Her Daddy, Smartless, and Things You Shouldn't Know. Combining the two companies together would form potentially the largest podcast company in the country, with listeners having gravitated in large numbers to the format. But yeah, sort of. These benefits paper over the fact that they're both traditional in satellite radio. They're declining, and we see streaming services such as Spotify and Apple Music increasingly dominating the landscape, with more and more audience shares being grabbed up to the detriment of companies like iHeartRadio and Sirius XM. Effectively, Market Watch has said the reported deal would likely do little to fundamentally change the trajectory of these companies' downfall, but might serve to help them maintain their market position for a bit longer. So I guess the question is, if this actually happens, does it really buy them that much time, or is it just really kind of staving off the inevitable?
I hear this is going to be the next Netflix of podcasting.
I mean, seriously, what's Sirius got that brings people in that's exclusive? They've got Howard Stern. They get Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend episodes a week early, and some of the other Sirius XM podcasts they get a week early. But most people are willing to wait to get it for free, ad-supported in the podcast catcher of their choice.
I maintain that Sirius XM really undersells the satellite function because they keep doing all these other things, but they have they have so many people who have Sirius XM just because they bought a vehicle with it. But that is an actual value proposition when there are certain bases of people who are having still bad LTE or 5G service. They have data cut out all the
100%.
time. I used to stream my Sirius XM on my old vehicle, and it cut out all the time. I was so happy when my truck had it built in that I actually have reliable music now. But the podcast aspect, they have a lot of recognizable names on there. They have a ton, but it just feels like they don't do much with it to bring people in to the fold, to directly go through Sirius XM for it.
Yeah, they have not been able to define the benefit as a podcast listener to why I should pay Sirius XM 10 to 15 bucks a month. Now, me as someone who enjoys other Sirius programming, it's a nice extra perk to have in there, but I don't pay 10 to 15 bucks a month. I call them once a year and renegotiate my deal and get it for like 17 bucks a year.
Do you want to know what's funny? At least on Canada, I didn't
What's
even
that?
have to do that this time. I just went through the web thing to try to go to cancel, and it offered
That's
it.
That's what happened to me last time too, which probably goes to show you how dire the straits are there, where you don't even have to threaten to quit for them to give you an offer to keep the subscriber numbers up.
No. And so then I just did it with both radios. So I was like, oh, okay.
I will
It's easy.
fully admit, I listen to Sirius most mornings during the week because there's a sports talk radio show I like to listen to in the morning when I drive into work and when I'm getting things set up for the day, and I'll listen to it off and on throughout the morning. But then after that, I just play music and whatnot over a speaker in my office, stuff like that. So yes, I use Sirius a fair amount, but the value proposition for me is I get my $2 to $3 I pay per month out of it. And I'm not really caring about the podcast side of things. I can't tell you the last time I turned on the iHeartRadio app or even the last time I had it installed on my phone.
And their music lists, something about them are lacking as well. Like if they feel half baked as well. When you look at something like Apple Music or Spotify, when you play music through that, it feels what you would expect for a music streaming service. But if you try to do the same on Sirius XM, they have like a lot of their channels even have spin-off exclusives that are basically glorified playlists in the realm or the genre of those
Yes.
Sirius XM stations, but they don't feel like what you expect out of something that is a dedicated music streaming app. They feel, I don't know, it's like the algorithm's bad or something.
So it's too much like traditional radio because to a lot, I enjoy that because I'm old. I don't mind DJs and stuff that transition me to things. Although I will say most of the channels I listen to on there play like the same 12 songs over and over again, which is a whole separate thing. But like, I don't mind that. But a lot of people don't want that. They just want to be like, hey, here's the kind of music I want. Serve it to me. And the Sirius app's not really set up for that. But if you want that, they own Pandora, and Pandora is set up for that. But if I have a Sirius account and a Pandora account, I can't link them and get commercial-free Pandora for some reason, and they haven't been able to describe why to me. And again, I probably haven't used Pandora in 4 or 5 years, at least since the last time I logged in. I didn't mind the ads because they weren't overly intrusive, but there's better options.
My dad can't stand the Pandora ads anymore.
No?
And he refuses to pay for a subscription to any of them. So he's stuck with it. He did pay for, as we discussed, I believe last show, he did pay for the YouTube premium because he's, that's unwatchable anymore.
Yes.
Let's see. iHeartMedia. I remember listening to the normal radio, and there was a commercial for some podcasts on iHeartMedia, and my daughter was like, yeah, I listened to that. I listened to that. Hey, Dad, do you know about iHeartMedia? Yeah, I've been on iHeartMedia for 12 years. She's like, no way, really? I'm like, yeah, we've talked about it before, but okay.
No, you did that wrong. You should have said to her, no, I'm an iHeart personality, thank you.
It's true.
Yeah, and I do have to thank iHeartRadio because they yeah, iHeart Media, whatever they were at the time, because they paid for the podcast movement party that I went to in Nashville, in downtown Nashville. It was a decent party. The hors d'oeuvres were okay. Music kind of sucked because it wasn't what I expected from Nashville or the venue, to be honest. So they took over this iconic country venue, and they just, pumped the, boom, 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 stuff in there. I'm like, yeah, that's not why I'm here. Anyway, I agree with you, Chris, quite handily, that why should, if podcasts are what I'm going to listen to, the satellite radio is very limited in its utility. I totally agree with you, Stephen. There are instances where you're not going to be able to stream, but if you've downloaded the podcasts and you have them on your phone as you're driving and your phone's connected to your car, then that works just fine too. But what everybody is forgetting about podcasts, and it's probably just because they see a way to make money off of it, is they're trying to just to make it like radio. And I'm like, that is not why podcasts started. Podcasts started to get away from that. Podcasts started to not have any sort of gatekeeper to it, that anybody could podcast. And I think we're there, so it's not really a comparison back and forth, but the fact that you didn't have ads was a huge deal, because I remember I did have satellite radio in my car. I listened to Blue Collar Comedy Channel. There was some sports stuff that I listened to, but the ads were just getting outrageous, and the content kept on repeating every like 18 minutes or something like that. I'm like, no, thank you. I want something else. So that's why I went away from it. And I think if you can compare a hobbyist podcast or a less known podcast that doesn't have as much ads but delivers the content, and you compare that with having to pay for this crap from a podcast standpoint, music is different, but from a podcast standpoint, it's like, no, I don't care what merger you do, that's never gonna work for true podcasting. And it was like Spotify, and Chris, you've talked about this before, and Stephen, I know we've talked about it before on Better Podcasting, when Spotify did that exclusives at the beginning of the pandemic with like Joe Rogan, and there was a few other famous podcasts at the time. And I said at the time, and I think you agreed with me, Stephen, is that this is a big mistake. They're going to lose subscribe. Yes, they're going to have this one payday, but they're not going to have another one, because they're not going to build audiences. They're just going to continue to shed the audience that they have right now. And that's exactly what happened. So all these exclusive podcasts from Spotify left. You have to have some way to bring in new viewers. Chris, I'll put this in sports vernacular for you. So boxing went to pay-per-view, right? When I was growing up, at least, you guys are a little bit younger than me, but when I was growing up, boxing was huge. Saturday afternoon, Saturday night, it was big on just broadcast TV. But as soon as it went cable to pay-per-view, it was exciting for the first couple of times, and there were a couple of big fights, but that was it. It's not like this perpetual money machine. It's like an event-driven machine every couple of years. So, and that's what they're trying to drive through with this gatekeeping on this stuff. So that's just my 2 cents on the podcasting and stuff like this. Radio, that's a whole other story. I hate that. If I enjoy the content enough, which I don't for music, but if I enjoy the content enough, I will pay to get rid of the ads, because that's just stupid.
Well, you mentioned there the whole thing about they're making podcasting like radio. Well, I think that's the other aspect of this potential merger that's interesting, is iHeartMedia owns a bunch of legacy radio stations. They that's a big part of their profile, as far as I know. So the idea of they got podcasting going on both, half-baked. They got streaming. I think they have streaming radio on both, half-baked. So they have satellite radio on both on the
that
one.
adds up to one fully baked then.
Yeah, they have satellite radio on Sirius, traditional radio on iHeart. Where does this go? Like, it's a big mismatch.
Nowhere.
So
Nowhere. Wait 2 years and they're dead.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a dying media. They won't be able to sustain themselves.
So we'll see what happens, but thanks for bringing that to us. Well, I look forward to being a serious XM personality. And
Ooh, that'd be fun.
lastly, in our news point here, can you count to 12? Because if you can, you can learn about the next starship.
Yeah, we talked about Blue Origin, and you guys were asking me about what was going on with SpaceX and with Starship. So we're just going to talk about it. A couple of days ago, I think it was late Friday afternoon, they dropped this new video series, Test How You Fly. And it was a little bit more than 24 minutes of high definition video on the entire, but definitely a lot of the recent Starship test history, and they divulged information that they had not divulged up to date. It's just incredible watching these big machines and the machines that build the machines come into play. It's going to be a series. It's like their entire rocket family, but definitely it is the Starship, because that's the big thing right now. They are genning up for Flight 12. Things haven't changed since we podcast last time. They're still set for a May 2026 flight, at least for now. On the 14th of April, they did a full static fire with Ship 39 on the new test pad at their Massey's test facility, which was blown up about 9 months ago or something like that. There's wonderful videos of it. There was even an on-timed aerial pictures of the NASA space flight Caesar photographer. He was actually up in the air and just coincidentally caught the thing firing while they were up there. The pictures are fantastic. It's not video, it's pictures. I have seen drone pictures right above both the ship and the booster. They have been phenomenal. I wasn't able to find any to link them in the show notes. Sorry, Stephen and Chris, but that is the status of ship Booster 19. We talked about their 10 engine static fire that was kind of aborted mid static fire after a couple of seconds. On the 15th of April, tax day here in the United States, they did a 33 engine static fire and they made that sucker work. Both Ship 39 and Booster 19 have been transported back to the production area, and they are getting their final checks before they go back out to the launch site, and they get mated for the first time on the new launch site, and they get ready to rock and roll for Flight 12, and that's coming up really quick. A couple of other things of note with Starship or with SpaceX is one of their drone ships for Falcon 9. Just read the instructions. They're taking that offline with Falcon 9, and they're going to use it to transport boosters and ships from Texas to the launch sites in Florida. They already contracted out one barge. They want a big enough tempo that they're going to have their own barge. Just read the instructions, do it, which is going to knock down the cadence of Falcon 9 flights a little bit off the East Coast, because the drone ship that they have, it's going to go out. And of course, I Still Love You, I think, is the name of the ship. It's going to go out and it's going to have to come back, go out, come back, go out, come back. And it's going to have maintenance along the way too. So they're not going to be able to do 2 a week like they were, or if they are basically burning out. Of course, I Still Love You. So basically what I'm trying to say is SpaceX is going all in on Starship. They are making those like 8 launch sites that I said over at the Cape. They're taking ships offline that is going to impact their current ops with Falcon 9 so they can move boosters and ships around and stuff like that. And this is just, it's going to be big. You guys have heard me say this before. This is going to transform, I say humanity. At the very least, it's how we utilize the space around our planet. The orbits around our planet, the Leos, the Meos, the Geos. This Starship is going to transform that, and so is Blue Origin. It's not just one. But as we talk about Artemis, which is where we left off the Blue Origin talk, which one is going to be the first one to get to the moon, or which one is just going to be ready to do the tests with Artemis 3 next year? And at this point, because Blue Origin doesn't have the cadence of flight out there. SpaceX might have a little bit of an edge right now.
Yeah!
So look at Steven's face. Yeah, it might be, or in a couple of months after Blue Origin figures out what the heck's going on with that BE-3 engine, they could instantly go, because I think they have the lander ready to go at Cape, and they could be the first one to touch down with an on-man lander on the moon, and that would put them ahead as well. This is simply a race between those two companies. We do need them both, but it's a race right now to see who's first. And right now, I would say SpaceX has a slight edge, but it could quickly turn into Blue Origin again. So we'll see what happens here at the end of the year.
Jokes aside, I would actually like to see Blue Origin have a pretty big landmark. I think that would be very important for the...
He wants a race.
Yes. But I think for evening things out a little bit in the private space sector, I think that would be very helpful. But if they have one more mishap, I think that there's...
Which company?
Blue Origin. I think they're probably... They don't have the success rate that SpaceX does. Yes, they've had a lot of failures, but they also, because of the volume, they've had so many successes. I think it becomes harder for NASA to say, okay, we trust you, if Blue Origin has another failure relatively soon.
So neither company is going to launch the astronauts. That's what SLS is for.
Yeah, but I mean, though, isn't NASA's still the one taking up the contract, right?
Yeah.
So then their money is going somewhere. So are they going to go, okay, we'll go with SpaceX, which has delivered for us time and time again? Or are we going to go for Blue Origin, which has a 50-50 record, if that ended up being the case?
Well, even Apollo, how many did you have that landed on the moon? 6 of them, right? So if you spread that out over 2 companies, you could have a 3 and 3. It didn't all have to. I think it was Northrop Grumman that did the LEM. You didn't, or maybe it was just Northrop. I forget the company that it was, but
It might have been before they combined. I'm not 100% sure, though.
yeah. Anyway, if you had 2 companies back then, you had a total of, actually, really, you had 9. You had 9, because there was a low Earth orbit test. There was the Apollo 10, where they went like 10 miles away from the lunar surface, and then they had to come back up. And you had Apollo 13 in there and 6 landings. So you had a total of 9 LEMs that flew.
13 was the biggest success.
It was the
Hollywood-wise, I guess.
we didn't live it, right? The way that we lived Apollo or Artemis 2, right? If we lived Apollo 13 like we lived Artemis 2, it would have been a big success, because the whole world would have been like, can we get them home?
Can I caution you on one thing while we're talking about Apollo 13?
Please do.
Don't do the math on the difference between when Apollo 13 the movie came out and when Apollo 13 the event happened versus now versus when the movie came out. It's not
don't
fun.
do it.
It's not fun to do that math. I've done it.
Yeah, it's like Top Gun, right? So Top Gun is closer to World War II now than we are to when Top Gun came out.
Yeah, it's not.
That's
Ugh.
yeah, and like the Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Like if Back to the Future happened today, when the movie came out, they went back to 1955. If we went back that same amount now, it'd be like 1996 or something like that. So yeah.
Vanilla Ice would make a cameo. All right, well, that's going to go ahead and bring us towards the end of another show.
Instead of ZZ Top, right?
Yeah. If you
Now I've got the ninja rap in my head, though.
If you'd like to talk with us in between our recordings, please come to our Discord at GonnaGeek.com/Discord. There's lots of fun conversation that happens over there, including if you have ever wanted to know what the latest happenings is around the Rivian products. Chris Farrell will definitely tell you over in the Vehicle Talk chat. He likes to give the
There's
updates
some
over there.
interesting stuff.
That's the R2.
Gumball Rally, guys.
Is that the R2 that you're following?
The R2 is what I'm following, but I did share some interesting attempts at the Gumball Rally using an R1T.
And then if you have any thoughts about smart weather stations, you might want to come over and check out the Smart Home and Home Lab channel, because SP is asking about that.
I am.
And I will also throw out here that if you want to talk podcasting, you can come to the Better Podcasting channel, because we got people over there who like to talk different podcasting topics, including talking about a certain new product that came out called the Pico Recorder. People are talking over there about that. Don't really know much about that, but you could come chat over there. And there's many other channels. Something to fill your cup. Oh, that's corporate speak coming into podcasting.
I need my cup to runneth over, Stephen.
Oh, I'm sorry. I went this whole podcast. Here you go, guys. Boca Chica, Boca Chica, Boca Chica, Boca Chica, Boca Chica.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But
I was thirsty.
That's going to wrap it up. So for episode number 428 of the Official Gonna Geek Show, I'm Steven saying, oh, space is an exciting time. And I look forward to my every other week update from SP.
I'm not merging with anyone. I'm Chris.
And I'm SP. I got a thunderstorm right here, so I got to shut down. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye. Are you sure you won't merge? Will you merge with Spock or McCoy?
That's a meld.
Remember.
Oh, okay.
It's a meld.
Bye.
Thanks for checking out another episode of the official GonnaGeek.com show. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts or a thumbs up on YouTube. You can always join us for our live recording sessions at www.geeks.live. And remember, you can find our full back catalog at GonnaGeek.com/show. If you're itching for more geeky content, check out other shows on GonnaGeekNetwork.com. Voice work was by Emily Prokop of the Story Behind podcast. That's it for this episode. We hope to see you back again next show.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys. I do have to go. I'm trying to upload my track right now. Did you hear that?
No,
It
I
was
didn't.
Huge.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It actually jumped me out of my chair.
Oh, I just passed gas. That was me. No, just kidding.
That was a big fart. A flatus.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming on by. We'll be back in 2 weeks in theory. I think. Oh, wait, is that a long weekend? I might be away that weekend.
We'll figure it out as we get closer.
Okay, I'm lost track of it. No. 2 weeks. We'll be back the 11th of May. Okay, bye. Thanks for coming by, everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.